video. Okay, this is part 2 of the introduction to the educational research. Okay, now we're going to look at the characteristic of quantitative and qualitative research in each of the 6 steps. If you still remember in part 1, we identified that we have 6 steps in doing research. So now we're going to see the characteristics specifically relate to quantitative and also qualitative research. Okay, let's look at introduction a bit. Okay, based on the nature of the research problem and the question that will be asked to address the problem, the research choose either quantitative or qualitative research track. The problem, the question, and the literature review help to steer the researcher toward either quantitative or qualitative track. Okay, so if you refer to the Creswell textbook, okay, you can see from here that the research process, when you start with your research problem and then you have your literature review, from there you come up with your research question, and this research question steer you to either be in doing quantitative research, okay, or doing qualitative research. Maknanya dia mesti daripada problem research question barulah you menentukan either you go to quantitative or you go to qualitative, and from that you decide on the research design. Okay, either it's going to be fully quantitative, or you have it fully qualitative, or you might have a combination of quali and quanti. Okay, so you can see from the diagram that even though you have quantitative and qualitative research, okay, you still need to have a sampling process, instrument or protocol, the data analysis process, and the interpretation part, so that towards the end, whether you use quantitative or qualitative research, you still need to draw discussion, conclusion that form part of your research. Next, okay, we proceed by looking at the quantitative research characteristic first. In quantitative research, the major characteristics are: first one is describing a research problem through a descriptive of trend, through a description of trend, or a need for an explanation of the relationship among variables. Okay, providing a major roles for the literature through suggesting the research question to be asked and justifying the research problem and creating a need for the direction, such as purpose statement, research question, or hypothesis of the study. Okay, this indicates that if you are doing quantitative research, okay, literature review play an important part in you to assist you in finding your, for example, variable, your research question that will assist you to proceed with your study. Okay, the next characteristic is creating purpose statement, research question, and hypothesis that are specific, narrow, measurable, and observable. Okay, so this indicates that if you are doing quantitative research, you must make sure that your purpose statement, your research question, and your hypothesis are specific, narrow, measurable, and observable. Okay. Next, okay, if you are doing quantitative research, you are collecting numeric data from a large number of people using instrument with preset question and response. Okay, so this is what you have been practiced previously when you use your Google form. Okay, you distribute supposed to be to a larger number of people. Okay, so when you collecting the what information, that's why kalau you guna Google form ataupun you guna questionnaire, you akan guna for example Likert scale, because you need to transform the uh, data into numeric. Okay, kalau Likert scale kan satu sangat tidak setuju for example, so you come up with the not numeric one, 1, 2, 3 and so on. Analyzing trend, comparing groups or relating variable uses statistical analysis and interpreting result by comparing them with prior prediction and past research. Okay, so that is among the characteristic in quantitative research. We're going to look at into further detail of each of it. Okay, but do remember that what I share with you in this slide is again come from Creswell textbook. Okay, so the first characteristic, identify a research problem. Okay, based on trend in the field or on the need to explain why something occurred. Some research require that you explain how one variable affects another. Okay, variables are attributes, attitude towards some issues or characteristics such as gender that the researcher study. Okay, by doing so, researchers are interested in determining whether one or more variable might influence another variable. Okay, so I advise you to go look into further detail in the Creswell textbook, because in the textbook it provides example for you to further understand the process. Okay, that's why what you are doing recently, you cari data kan, you are looking for data to say that for example fraud is a serious problem. You need to have what happened in the previous year, for example, what happened in few years time. Okay, because that is a characteristic of quantitative research, right? Okay, you need to base on trend. Okay, kita nak tahu kenapa benda tu meningkat dari tahun ke tahun. Apa yang menyebabkan benda tu meningkat dari tahun ke tahun. Okay, so you are looking at trend and the need to explain why something occurs. Okay, so if you are doing quantitative research, these are the things that should be in your research problem. Okay. Next part is reviewing the literature. Okay, in the literature review, it will have a slight different if you are doing quantitative. There is a difference in doing literature review if you are doing quantitative research or qualitative research. Okay, if you are doing quantitative research, you will do a rigorous literature review at the very beginning of the process. Okay, why do you need the literature review? Because for quantitative research, literature play major roles in two ways. Satu, justifying the need for the research problem. Okay, you're going to go through your literature review to look for the importance of the issues examined in the study. Why you need to do research on that matters. Okay, you search the literature, locate study that identify the problem as important to examine, then cite this literature in the opening section of your research report. Okay, so you are looking for Okay, you are looking for a statement, you are looking for a study that could support your research. Maknanya, you kena cari kenapa uh, you are doing that research. What is the trigger part of you that you can find in the literature. Okay. Secondly, okay, you use your literature to allow suggestion for potential purpose and research question for the study. Okay, identify the literature key variable, relationship, trend, and use this to provide direction for your research question and hypothesis. That's why kalau you tengok quantitative research, dalam literature review dia akan ada literature review on the variable. Okay, on the variable meaning that katakanlah you have dependent variable, you will need to find in your literature review macam mana the definition, how it is measured, it will come from the literature review. Okay, faktor mempengaruhi, katakanlah variable A, B and C. Macam mana you boleh come out dengan variable A, B and C is actually coming from the literature. Okay, you have several article that say A, B and C adalah faktor mempengaruhi. Jadi you pun akan investigate guna A, B and C. Kalau you nak guna D, it must have a literature to support that. Okay, so that is the importance of literature review in quantitative research. Okay, next. Okay, research question. Okay, for quantitative research, the research question normally narrow question to obtain measurable and observable data on variable. It is specific and narrow because you identify only a few variables to study. Okay. From a study of this variable, you obtain measures or assessment on instrument or record score on a scale from observation. Okay. So your research question, okay, normally narrow question. Okay, adakah A mempengaruhi kejadian X, for example. So you are focusing on A. Okay, you are identifying on the influence of A. Okay, for quantitative data collection, okay, normally you're going to use instrument to measure the variable in the study. An instrument is a tool for measuring, observing, or documenting quantitative data. It contains specific question and response possibility that you establish or develop in advance of the study. So example of the instrument will be survey question, standardized test, or checklist. Okay, for example, if you are doing questionnaire, then it will be you dah set kan soalan. For example, section A will be demographic, male, female, something like that. And second question may be to test variable number 1. Okay, then the next section will be on variable 2 and so on. So for quantitative data collection, you need to develop your questionnaire. Okay, you need to develop your questionnaire prior to the data collection process. Okay, or if you are doing content analysis, if you are looking at annual report, you must have a checklist. Okay, you must have like katakanlah kalau you nak tengok performance, apa yang you akan tengok dalam annual report. Because you are looking for the quantitative data. Okay, if you are looking at CSR information, kalau you tengok CSR kan dia bukan quantitative information. So CSR will be in form of long story pages of information. So normally people will go transform it into quantitative data by having it 1 and 0. For example, kalau ada kita letak 1, kalau tak ada kita letak kosong. Ataupun some research transform it into number of pages, number of words, sentence count. Okay, which means that you must have a standardized test or standardized way of recording if you are collecting a quantitative data. Okay, the intent of this process is to apply the result, called generalizing the result from small number of people to a large number. Okay, the larger of individual study, the stronger the case for applying the result to a large number of people. Okay, sebab tu kalau you buat quantitative sampling is one of the important issue that you need to consider. Okay, sampling tu dia represent tak the majority number of people. So once you have the data, you're going to do the analysis. A quantitative data analysis, this is the part that we're going to move on further in this subject. Okay, for quantitative data analysis, you're going to analyze the data using mathematical procedure called statistics. So what you are doing in statistics, you're going to break down the data into parts to answer the research question. Research interpret the result of the analysis in light of initial prediction or prior study. This interpretation is an explanation as to why the result turned out the way they did. The research will explain how the result either support or refute the expected prediction in this study. Okay, so when you do the data analysis, you are actually comparing back to your research question or analysis. Research question or hypothesis. Okay, you are looking for the answer, whether it support or refute what you expect to have come out from the study. In terms of reporting and evaluating quantitative research, the format for the study follow a predictable pattern. Okay, biasanya kita standardize the format dia. Okay, where you have introduction, review of literature, method, research and discussion. Okay, kalau kita tengok majority, kalau 10 orang buat quantitative research, biasanya lebih kurang sama je dia punya format. Okay, because it will create a standardized structure for quantitative study. Therefore, it will provide a specific criteria that you might use to judge a quality of quantitative research report. Okay, so you can apply this also when you look at report by others. For example, okay, dia ada introduction, dia ada review of literature, method dia stated, and then what you will have some result and discussion. Reporting and evaluating quantitative research. They use procedure to ensure that your own personal bias and value do not influence the result. They use instruments that have proven value, that have reliable and valid score for past use. Design study to control for all variable that might introduce bias into a study. Okay, for example, use instrument that have proven. Biasanya kalau you tengok previous research, look, if you are using questionnaires, okay, dia adalah lebih what we call it lebih reliable kalau dah ada questionnaire from previous study, because that questionnaire is already proven or tested berbanding dengan instrumen yang you create sendiri. Okay. And then kalau you biasa baca artikel, you will have in the article dia ada control variable. That control variable is a control that might introduce, okay, it will what we call it take into consideration the element of biasness. Okay, report research without referring to yourself or your personal reaction. Okay, dia melaporkan data-data that you find from your survey. Okay, now let's look at what is the qualitative research characteristic. Okay, for qualitative research, it also have major characteristic: exploring a data and developing a detailed understanding of a central phenomena. Okay, so when you look at qualitative and quantitative characteristic, normally it will create a better understanding if you compare it side by side. Okay, kalau you tengok qualitative macam ni, quantitative macam ni. So you can see the difference between quanti and quali. So kalau you tengok, for quali is explore a problem and developing a detailed understanding of a phenomena. Okay. Whereas if you look at quantitative, it's more on describing trend or the reason or relationship of why things happen. Okay, a need for an explanation of the relationship among variables. Okay, for qualitative research, having the literature review play a minor role but justify the problem. Okay, if you are doing qualitative research, normally you just go through literature at the beginning of the process in looking for justification for the problem. Okay, we are not looking for any variable. Dia cara melihat variable tu tak sama macam kuantitatif. Okay, stating the purpose and research question in a general and broad way so as to the participant experience. So for qualitative research, we are looking for a broad general information as compared to quantitative, dia lebih fokus. Okay, yang ni kita nak more broad that for example we want to know participant experience. So kita tak bolehlah tanya soalan yang agak spesifik. Kita akan biarkan dia explain their experience so that we can gather information from their experience. Okay, qualitative research characteristic also collect data. Okay, but the data that they collect is normally in words. Okay, but it comes from a small number of individual. Okay, because you are kalau you tengok dalam soalan questionnaire, kalau kualitatif ni biasanya open-ended. Okay, kita apa pendapat anda? Okay, so we allow the participant to provide their view, to tell their experience. So when we are doing that, what we going to have is we're going to have a data of data containing words, penceritaan, ayat that come from interviews, for example. Okay, so in the process, we have analyzing the data for description and team using text analysis and interpreting the larger meaning of the finding. Okay, writing the report is more flexible emerging structure and evaluating criteria, including the research, subjective reflexivity, and bias. So, in detail, normally if you have a research problem which is you need to explore or you do not know the variable, normally you go for qualitative. Okay, macam PhD research saya, I'm looking for faktor mempengaruhi penglibatan SMEs dalam environmental initiative and environmental reporting. Of course, kita pun pada masa tu tak tahu adakah SME terlibat, what is the current state of SMEs involvement. Lagi-lagi SMEE Malaysia. That's why my research is a qualitative research. Okay, because kalau kita nak cari variable, memang tak jumpa variable tu dalam literature. Tapi kita tahu in term of justifying the problem, kita tahu pentingnya SME untuk terlibat dengan environmental initiative and environmental reporting. Okay, because of the nature of the SME itself. Dia banyak, dia represent 99% of the business organisation atau bukan business registered business in Malaysia in term of quantity. Okay, tapi bila kita nak investigate, variable dia tak ada. Okay, because that is a new area. So that's why my research is qualitative research. Okay, the literature might yield little information about the phenomena of the study. Need to learn more from participants through exploration. A central phenomena is a key concept, idea, or process studied in qualitative research. It requires an exploration and understanding of the process. Okay, so in terms of literature review, play a less substantial role at the beginning of the study. Okay, review the literature to justify the need to study the research problem. Does not provide major direction to the research question. Okay, that's why if you are doing a qualitative, cara kita baca literature tu lain sikit. Because we are not looking for variable. Okay, you are not looking for direction for the research question, because when you are doing qualitative research question, dia mungkin berubah. Sebab bila you pergi interview your participant, mungkin benda tu you tak jumpa sebelum. Tapi bila you pergi interview participant, benda tu akan terbit during the interview session. Okay, qualitative research rely more on the views of the participant in the study and less on the direction identified in the literature by the researcher. Okay, in terms of purpose statement or research question, okay, stated so that you can best learn from the participant. Your research a single phenomena of interest and state the phenomena in purpose statement. Okay, normally you have a general research question. Okay, so that you will be guided, okay, in understanding the participant. So when you collect data, you want to learn from the participant in the study and develop form called protocol for recording data as the study proceeds. Okay, this form poses general questions so that the participant can provide answer to the question. Okay, often question on this form will change and emerge during data collection. Example of this form include an interview protocol which consists of 4 or 5 questions, or an observational protocol in which the researcher record notes about the behavior of participant. Okay, so as part of your assignment, you also need to do the qualitative part of the research. So if you are doing interview, you must be very careful in posing the question. Your question cannot be specific. Okay, you must provide a general question. Okay, simple example macam ni. Katakanlah you are doing katakan simple question specific, meaning that dah makan nasi ke hari ni? Okay, so if you are asking that, maknanya you meletakkan spesifik dia adalah nasi. So you tanya dia makan nasi dah ke? So you are putting point to the participant answer. General mean you kena tanya, boleh tak ceritakan pada saya you makan apa hari ni? Jadi dia macam berfikiran. Okay, fikiran dia lebih terbuka. Mungkin dia makan nasi, mungkin dia makan mi. Okay, dia akan lebih general. Okay, kalau you pergi tanya, katakanlah 10 orang you tanya you makan nasi dah ke? Mestilah jawapan dia akan ada ya ataupun tidak sahaja. Tapi kalau you tanya, boleh tak cerita hari ni you makan apa? Okay, 10 orang yang you tanya mungkin 5 orang makan nasi, 2 orang makan roti for example. Okay, sebab bulan puasa, cerita pun asyik cerita makan lah. Terfikir pun memang fikir makan je contoh. Setakat ni rasanya kalau video 2-3 video ni rasanya cerita pasal makan lah. Mungkin akan datang video raya pula. Okay. By the way, I'm recording this at 3 o'clock. Pukul 3 ni. Kejap lagi nak masuk dapur, laju sikit. Okay, so that is the process of collecting data. Okay, so once you collect that data, okay, katakanlah 10 orang tadi you tanya, boleh tak cerita you makan apa? So 10 orang tu jawab panjang lah. Kalau orang tu makan banyak, banyaklah cerita dia. Okay, so what you need to do is from the audio recording, you need to transcribe. Okay, transcribe maknanya you tulis lah apa yang dia cakap. Transcribe audio recording from a database composed of words. Normally, if you decide to collect your data using qualitative research and you need to record, okay, you are advised to ask for permission. Okay, you ask for permission saying that this one will be recorded and then the recording will be used for research purpose. Because sometimes when I'm doing my PhD, bila saya tanya boleh tak record, ada satu participant company tu dia disapprove. Dia kata tak boleh. Jadi menggelabahlah kita bila dia kata tak boleh kan. Sebab bila tak boleh tu kan kena tulis semua. Okay, jadi but since dia kata tak boleh, you tak boleh gunalah. You kena guna mekanisme yang lain. Macam contoh, you kena tulis lah. Okay. So you need to ask permission in order for you to use the transcribe. Maybe you nak refer dia dalam you write up. Okay, so other than transcribe audio recording, you can also have observation, observing participant in their work or family setting, or take note that will become a qualitative database. So example, katakanlah bila kita tanya pasal makan tadi kan. Okay, apa yang you observe bila cerita apa you makan hari ni, boleh cerita tak apa you makan hari ni? Apa yang you tengok bila dia cerita makan macam-macam? Apa yang you tengok sebenarnya? Apa benda yang you boleh observe yang mengesahkan bahawa itu yang dia makan? Sila jawab. Nanti dah dapat jawapan, boleh WhatsApp saya ya. Okay, with each form of data, you will gather as much information as possible to collect detailed account for a final report. Okay, with each form, saya rasa nanti you check balik dalam Creswell. Okay, you need to collect as much information as possible. That's why people say if you are doing qualitative research, it rich data. Okay, banyak sangat maklumat sampai itu nak buat. Ini boleh tulis, itu boleh tulis. So that's why you need to focus also. Okay. Okay, in terms of data analysis, after you already have your data, you gather a text database. Okay, text database ni maknanya kalau you transcribe 10 orang punya interview, maknanya you ada 10 set lah. Okay, so the data analysis of text consists of dividing it into group of sentence called text segment and determining the meaning of each of group sentence. Okay, rather than using statistic, you analyze words or pictures to describe the central phenomena under study. So this is where NVivo can assist us in doing the data analysis. Tapi NVivo ni dia kena kita juga analyze, dia bukan macam SPSS. SPSS ni you masuk je, dia boleh analyze semua benda walaupun benda tu salah. Okay, contohnya katakanlah dia boleh je bagi mean. Okay, mean untuk katakanlah gender. Kalau you tak setting dia kan, dia akan jadi gender dia 1.5. Okay, sedangkan dia kan 1, kosong je you letak. Okay, but for NVivo, you are actually the one who going to analyze it first. Okay, NVivo is software that will assist you in doing the process. Okay, the result may be a description of individual people or place. In some qualitative study, the entire report is mostly a long description of several individuals. So biasanya kalau you terjumpa qualitative research article, normally dia ambil lah sedikit interview conversation. Biasanya antara banyak-banyak tu kita pilih yang paling strong ataupun yang paling bukan unik, yang paling boleh merangkumi semua orang punya maklumat. Okay, so normally kita masukkan information tu dalam report. Sebab tu qualitative research ni dia panjang sebab kita banyak menulis. That's why in doing your dissertation, you are advised to do quantitative analysis. Because of itulah sebab you punya write up tu akan jadi panjang. Okay, the result may also include themes or broad category that represent your finding. You both describe individual and identify theme, a rich complex pictures emerge. Then you make an interpretation of the meaning of the data by reflecting on how the finding relates to existing research, by stating a personal reflection about the significance of the lesson learned during the study, or by drawing our larger, more attractive, more abstract meaning. Okay, larger and more abstract meaning. Okay, so when you go through the slide, if you think that the wording is macam pelik sikit, you check back the textbook. Okay, mungkin typing error along the process. Okay, so in terms of reporting qualitative research, okay, employ a wide range of format or report your study. Okay, meaning that kalau kita tengok quantitative, dia more with formatted. Okay, dia macam structure. But for qualitative, dia lebih kepada general format. Okay, dia tak standardized sangat. So it depend on how the researcher put it in to make the finding or discussion flow. Therefore, it is not surprising that the standard for evaluating qualitative research also are flexible. However, a good qualitative report need to be realistic and persuasive to convince the reader that the study is an accurate and credible account. Okay, for example, if you are doing a qualitative, you interview. Okay, there must be validity and credibility there. For example, macam mana saya tahu jawapan interview tu adalah daripada participant you. Adakah benar itu adalah jawapan partisipan you ataupun itu jawapan you sendiri, for example. Okay, so that's why we need to have the protocol. You may have the transcribe. Okay, transcribe, the recording can be the evidence. Okay, yang you boleh tunjukkan bahawa semua-semua ni adalah datang daripada your participant. Okay, so in looking at quantitative and qualitative research, you look at back what you have in part 1 earlier. Okay, kita tengok problems, issues and problem in doing research. So you can see that in term of the data itself, okay, kalau kita tengok itu, kita tengok in part 1, the issue is what we have. Okay, for example, questionable data. Okay, the issue of questionable data. Okay, so in terms of data and data collection and data analysis, that is the thing that you need to take serious. Okay, sebab kalau you punya research problem bagus, research question bagus, tapi orang tak percaya kepada data yang you present, then your research is of no use. Okay, tu kena hati-hati. Sample tu penting. Okay. Okay, so in the Creswell textbook, if you look at the last part of it, okay, they discuss again the similarity and difference of quantitative and qualitative. So you can read that on your own. Okay, so what you need to learn from here is, if you are doing a quantitative research, okay, make sure you have the characteristic of the qualitative research. Okay, but you must also remember that kuanti ataupun kuali itu bukan itu yang you decide dulu. Okay, kuanti ataupun kuali itu akan diputuskan bila you go through the research problem you, dia datang daripada literature you, ada tak variable and so on. Okay, so you must go through the process in order for you to identify whether it is qualitative or quantitative research. Okay, maknanya when you go through the process, macam research issue you tu, tengok tak ada lagi orang buat, ataupun literature pun tak ada, variable pun tak jumpa. So if that is the case, dia akan ada chances it will be qualitative research. If that is the case, saya rasa you kena abort lah. Maknanya cari issues ataupun research problem yang lain lah. Kalau tak, kalau dia memang dah track dia akan jadi kualitatif, you nak buat juga kuantitatif, then you will have a major problem. So you need to be careful on that. Okay, I know you are doing dissertation, maknanya fokus in doing quantitative research. Okay, tapi nak decide on quantitative research, dia mesti datang daripada research problem tu dulu. Okay, so bila you go through research problem, ada tak karakteristik untuk menjadikan dia kuantitatif? For example, are you looking at trend? Okay, kenapa benda ni meningkat? Kenapa benda ni menurun? Okay, and then you go to literature. Okay, you have literature with regards to measurement, variable. So you nampak, okay, dia akan menjurus kepada quantitative research. Okay. Okay, so I think that will be it for the introduction to educational research part 2. Berbelit-belit lidah rasanya menyebut quantitative and qualitative. So till next time, bye, see you again. Assalamualaikum.